This is Psalms chapter 134 and 1. Behold, bless ye the Lord, all ye servants of the Lord, which by night stand in the house of the Lord. Lift up your hands in the sanctuary and bless the Lord that made heaven and earth. Bless ye at Zion.
So we're giving all praises unto the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, the one true God, the Most High God of Israel. Bahashem, that's how you say in the name of or through. And Yahushai is the true name of who many know as Jesus today, but his true name in the Hebrew, it is Yahushai. Alright, so, what me and the brother want to go through today is going through how America, alright, all the prophets of old, they really prophesied against America, you see? Whether it be, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Habakkuk, Nahum, all these old prophets, which you would have thought that, they wouldn't have ever known about America, man. Because they're ancient prophets. So you would think that they was prophesying truly, strictly to the people that they was strictly prophesying to the people in that day and time, right? Although they did prophesy to those people in that day and time, like Jeremiah, he prophesied against Babylon. What's this right here? Check that real quick.
You can do it.
Yeah, in Isaiah, he prophesied against a lot of different kingdoms. Nahum, he prophesied against what you would say Babylon. Alright? Daniel, all these people. But guess what? On a twofold level, they were really prophesying about America because America is spiritual. Okay, on a doublefold level, Egypt, Rome, even Assyria. Alright? What are the places out here? America. Greece, Tyrus. All these places are actually on a double-fold level talking about America, man. That's what we got to consider. So when people say that, Old Testament prophecy, that doesn't pertain to today, well, that's a false statement because that pertains most of your prophecies are really going to be what you really want to be into because it's going to talk about modern day things, man. You see? Matter of fact, this is Job 11:6. And that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that God exacteth of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. So he said that you gotta understand that, okay, the secrets of wisdom, they are double to that which is. So meaning there is a double fold meaning to a lot of these different scriptures, man. Alright? So we're actually gonna read a lot of these scriptures and we're gonna show you how it pertains today. Alright? Because there's no new thing under the sun. Alright? That which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been. There's no new thing under the sun. See? So all captivities. Right? This is Babylon all over again. Babylon was known for what? Having all nations, tongues, kindreds. Alright? People come in one big melting pot. Who else has that same trait? America. Egypt. This is Egypt all over again. How? Because Egypt, they were known for having all 12 tribes of Israel in that captivity, and it was for 400 plus years, an extensive long period. They were being ruled over with rigor, right? So guess what? Who else portrays that same traits? America. Alright? Sodom. Alright, Sodom was known for having all different type of homosexuals. Alright? All type of what's a good word I could use, man? They was known for having pretty much trying to think of that word, man. Like it was like strange. It was unnatural or something. Unnatural, unnatural affections. I can say probably. Alright, it's spiritual Rome all over again, man. Because the Roman Empire, this America is an extension of the Roman Empire. So all your kingdoms that you read about in the scriptures, it all comes back to America. This is Babylon the Great, man. Let's go ahead and get this. Alright, in Isaiah chapter 10. Right, we'll start out with this first one. Alright, and link this up. Alright, it's gonna be the book of Isaiah. Alright, chapter 10. We're gonna start at 5. It says, O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger, and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. Alright, now the Assyrian right here, this right here is not talking about your ancient Assyria. This is really talking about modern day Assyria, because this is another term for Babylon the Great, America, right? And the Lord says that they are the rod of his anger, meaning the Most High God of Israel is using these people to fulfill his will, right? Because everybody out here has a role, man. You see? Everybody out here, every single nation is being used by the Most High that they might fulfill prophecy, alright? Because guess what? Everybody is bound by prophecy. Esau right now is the rod of his anger, right? So Esau is the one who's being used by the Lord to control, to commit the wickedness on earth. You see? Because the wickedness on earth that is going on right now, guess what? There was already prophesied and foretold within the Holy Scriptures. So the Most High needed somebody to play that role, man. So he used Esau, right? He used him as a tool. I will send him against an hypocritical nation and against the people of my wrath. Will I give him a charge to take spoil and to take prey and to tread them down like the mire in the streets? Alright? So the Lord gave Esau the decree to go ahead and come up against the children of Israel. Alright? Because we are that hypocritical nation, man. Alright? The Lord was using Esau to chasten us. Because what happened was that Israel was being wicked and rebellious. Alright? So when Israel gets wicked and rebellious, the Lord says that he was gonna send enemies to us. Not the enemies were just gonna randomly get a hunch to come and want to overtake the children of Israel. It's the Lord put it in the spirit of these nations to come and go come kill us, man. So that we might actually get chastised for our sins. Alright, that's them being used as a tool, man. You see?
Precept. This is Judges chapter 2 and 11. It says, "And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, and served Baalim, and they forsook the Lord, the God of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods of the other people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Lord to anger. And they forsook the Lord, and served Baal and Ashtaroth. The anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he delivered them into the hand of the spoilers that spoiled them, and he sold them into the hand of their enemies round about, so that they could not any longer stand before their enemies." And that's a good precept to link up exactly what the brother was reading in Isaiah chapter 10 and 6. I'm going to read it again. It tells you, I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil. And that's what the Lord did to us in Judges chapter 2. Judges chapter 2, alright, what I was reading there. They spoiled us, man. You know, they spoiled the children of Israel. It goes on to say, and they take the prey and to tread them down like mire in the street. Alright, and they tread us down. Alright, if you read that, alright, it told you that so they could not any longer stand before their enemies. So they tread us down like mire in the street to where we couldn't even stand anymore before our enemies. So, yeah, man, whenever the Lord gets mad, it's not, and that shows you right there that that's not only talking about the Assyrian, because the Lord didn't send the Assyrians back in Judges, you know? But then again, the Assyrian just means that oppressor, you know? We know who the modern day Assyrian is.
God.
That's Esau, you see?
That's right, man.
Because if I remember correctly, the people who tread us down, well, you could just read it in Judges, you know, Judges 2.
Right. I got a precept. Before we bring that out, it's Deuteronomy 32 and 30. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had sold them, and the Lord has shut them up? Right? For their rock is not as our rock, even our enemies themselves being judges. So it just says that how can one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, right? That one is talking about a man. And this is confirming when the Lord himself, this is confirming when Esau was like putting us in slavery, alright? These other nations, let's just deal with Esau, right, here in America. If you look at the black back then, and if you look at slavery on the plantations, you would have one Edomite, right? And that one Edomite would have a dominion over a whole plantation of slaves. And they didn't rise up because they got that fear instilled into them. because the Most High gave us that trembling heart, as it tells us in the book of Deuteronomy. You see, even with the Taínos and the Aztecs and the natives, you had Esau come up against us. His numbers weren't as big, but you had a lot of them. You had like 1, 2, putting like thousands. I mean, putting like hundreds to flight, man. Meaning slaying them. You see. So it says that let's read that again. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except that a rock had sold them? The Lord has shut them up. So Yahweh is the one who sold us into slavery. Alright, it's not that Esau got that might to do so. The Lord was using him to reform us, to pretty much to get us right. Just like a father is gonna chasten his son if your son is being wicked. I mean, not wicked, but you could say that. But if your son is being rebellious, you see, you're going to actually discipline him, whether it be with a belt or with a rod or whatever you're going to use, right? A switch. You're going to punish them, right? Well, the Lord himself, he does that same exact thing. This is Leviticus chapter 26 and 23. It says, and if you will not be reformed by me by these things, but will walk contrary unto me, then I will walk contrary unto you, and I will punish you yet 7 times for your sins. And I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. And when you are gathered together within your cities, I will send a pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy. So the Lord uses these nations as a tool to get us right, to get us to understand that, yeah, we went off. We gotta return back to him, right? That's what the Lord does. That's why Babylon, all right, we got sold to the Babylonians. We got, in the book of Judges, it tells us that we got sold to all these different captivities whenever we would go the hell off, you see? Cool. So Esau, he is known as the rod of the Lord's anger, right? As a matter of fact, we're going to go back to it. All right, this is the book of Isaiah chapter 10, verse 15. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against him that lifteth it up, or if the staff should lift itself as it were no wood. So the Lord's saying, you know, should the tool, is it going to boast itself against the one who is using it? So if you're cutting the tree with the axe, can the axe just somehow all of a sudden be like, oh, look at the work that I did? No, because the axe is being used by somebody. That's you. You see? So Esau is used as like the axe. Esau is used as like the rod. And the Lord is the one doing the work. So Esau thought that he had, by his own arm, he came and he took us over. He thought that he was so mighty to go over and take over the natives and kill them and slaughter them. He thought he's so mighty to have us under his thumb, not knowing that the Most High God of Israel is giving him that power to do so. You see? So Esau can't boast himself. Esau is only being used as a tool. And I would say a bad one for that fact. I mean, not a bad one, but I would say this is a bad role for him, right? He thinks he thinks that, you know, this was a good thing for himself, but not knowing that the Lord is using Esau to touch the apple of his own eye. So Esau's going to get it real bad, right? So Esau kind of got the bad deal, although he thought for a second he was doing it he was good for himself, right?
Can I read verse 13?
Yeah.
This is Isaiah chapter 10 and 13. It says, for he says, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put them down, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And that's what Edom, the Edomite, he thinks in his mind that he put the children of Israel, the Lord's holy people, down like a valiant man, you know, because to take over a city, you know, that's what valiant men do, you know, men of war. But Esau thinks he did it by himself. You know, this cave beast, he believes that he did all, he built up America and he did everything that he did just by himself, you know. But little did he know that the Lord was the one who set him up, you know, set him up to be this chastening tool, you know, set him up to be like a belt. All right, that's all he is. To make sure that the children of Israel, who are the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to make sure that they are purified, man. Make sure they're punished so they can understand, you know. That's what chastening is. You see, real quick, if I can go to Hebrews.
Hebrews chapter 12 and 6. Give me a second here.
I want to get this too before you read on. This is Amos chapter 3, and I'll start at 2. It says, "You only have I known of all families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities." So, of all families of the earth, the Lord is only dealing with the children of Israel. You see, out of all families of the earth, they all commit all type of wickedness, right? But they don't keep the laws. They don't do any of that stuff. All right, but guess what? There's a clear distinction between who is the ones getting messed up today, who's the ones being chastised. We can obviously see the Lord is chastising us, the Israelites, the so-called black Hispanics and natives, because just like He's our Father, we His Son. Therefore, we have that relationship to where the Lord wants to deal with us as such. You see, but these other nations, they're not. They're like bastards, right? These other nations, they're like the like if you have friends, you have friends and you get in trouble with your friends, your Father's not going to punish your friends, He's going to punish you. So these other nations, although they commit all type of wickedness, guess what? The Lord still doesn't put them through all that correction. You see, He actually uses them to put us in order. That's how He shows you that the Most High is only the God of Israel, and showing you first and foremost too that He also He's also going to use these other nations to deal with us.
Con. Con, so I wanted to read this in Hebrews chapter 12 and 6. It says, "For whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom He receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons." And that just goes to show you that these other nations, they're not sons, all right, but bastards.
Con.
And how much more the tool the Lord uses, the nation the Lord uses to chastise His children. That's even that's a worse place or lot to be in, you see. But Salaki, if I can go back to Isaiah 10 and 13, it says this. He says, "For He saith, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and have put them down, Salaki, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man." So that, ultimately Esau does believe, whether he knows it or not, that he thinks he's a valiant man for putting the children of Israel into captivity. And being such a devil, he believes that he's a valiant man. But also I wanted to go back and read verse 12. It tells you this: "Wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed His whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his high look." So what is that going into? That just told you that when the Lord performed His whole work upon the children of Israel, who is Mount Zion, that then He will punish the king of Assyria. Why? Because he would have no need for him. All right. What was that work that the Lord did unto the children of Israel, Mount Zion? That was just going into how He perfected us, man. Through chastisement and punishment, we're perfected, man, because you learn through chastisement, right? That's what it's for. If I can go to Deuteronomy real quick. All right, just give me a second. Deuteronomy chapter 5 and 8. It tells you that, Salakia, it tells you this, if I can get it. Salakia, it might be 8 and 5, Salakia. It says, "Thou shalt also consider in thine heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord thy God chasteneth thee." All right, real quick, Salaki, that might not be the one. It might be Proverbs, but that is true, man. As the Lord chasteneth us, He like a father, because we're His son. And that's a beautiful thing, man, to be a son of the Most High. Not these other nations can't say that.
They can't, because really they still have their whole society intact, right? They still have their own nationalities. They can still go to their own countries. You Moabite, you a Chinese. Well, if you don't feel welcome here in America, we'll just go back to your country, man. Right? You can go back to where you belong. You an African, go back there, right? You're so-called East Indian, will go back to India, right? What about us, man? Negroes, Latinos, and natives. Where can we go? Nowhere on the earth, because we don't have a nationality. We don't have we don't have a heritage. We don't have a land. We don't have our own sovereignty. We don't have a kingdom. We don't have our own governments. We don't have anywhere where we can feel safe. We have to be here in America, being slaves, being under the rod of Esau, right? Because we're getting chastised right now, right? And even if we want to feel at home here, we don't get treated like we at home because Esau is ruling over us. Because Esau is a rod of the Lord's anger, man.
Come. And I wanted to read this in Job chapter 5 and 17. It says, "Behold, happy is the man whom God correcteth. Therefore despise not the chastening of the Almighty." You see, so happy is that man whom the Lord corrects. Why? Because you learn. Correction is how you learn. Right? When you do something incorrectly, someone's going to show you through instruction how to do it correctly, and therefore you're going to learn from that, man. In this case, we're going to learn by a punishment. Now we know that we're going through the punishment through the curses, man. We know that the punishment is Esau, all right, the modern day Assyrian. We know that the Lord sent him against us because we were wicked. So we know that that's the work the Lord had wrought upon Israel. I'm going to read that again in Isaiah 10 and 12. It says, "Wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria in the glory of his high looks." You see, so when the Lord has no need for the Assyrian because his people is finally perfected, the Lord says he's going to punish the stout heart of the king of Assyria. Right now, when you look into the word stout, the definition of stout just means a stiff, all right? It means strong, all right? You might even link it up with proud or thick, stiff, something stiff, like metal. And that's how the king of Syria, his heart is, man.
God precept.
Come on.
This is the book of Zephaniah 2 and 13. "And he will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria. And I will make Nineveh a desolation and dry like a wilderness." So this is the Lord going to prophesy against Assyria. But we're going to figure out that this is really talking about America. But you're going to figure this out in verse 15. "This is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none besides me. How is she become a desolation and a place for the beasts to lie down in? Everyone that passeth by her shall hiss and wag his tail, wag his hand." So this is talking about Assyria. But it just goes on to say, verse 15, that this is a rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, that said in our heart, I am, and there is none besides me. Now, who does that sound like, man? Who else is that prideful to call themselves, there's none else but me? I am. I did this by myself. That's Esau. Esau has the same traits within the Holy Scriptures. When you read about that man who tries to set himself up as God, he thinks that he is and there's none else, right? He's that careless city. We understand that this is talking about Babylon the Great, America. As a matter of fact, I want to get this in the book of Isaiah 47, man, because this is the same traits as Babylon the Great.
Yeah.
This is Isaiah chapter 47 and 1. "Coming down is in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." And we know the virgin daughter of Babylon, that's talking about America, all right? Because America is the predecessor of ancient Babylon, because they take on the same traits. That's why it's called the daughter, because a daughter actually is like the same as a mother. Okay, whatever your mother was doing, the daughter is gonna follow after the mother, and she's gonna become like her mother. See, if your mother was a whore, and she was she was like a whoreback. If she was a whore and she knew how to get over on guys, well, she's gonna teach the daughter to be the same way. You see, or if your mother is meek and this, that, and third, well, you might grow up to be that same way, but you take the traits off of your mother. So America took on the traits of her mother Babylon, ancient Babylon. Let's read it again. "Come down, sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there's no throne, O daughter of the Chaldees, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." All right, concerning America. Now we're gonna go actually get 8. All right, it says, "Therefore hear now this, that are given to pleasure, that dwellest carelessly." Alright? That saith in our heart, I am, and none else besides me. I shall not sit a widow, neither shall I have loss of children. So this is America, straight up. And if you go back to Zephaniah, alright, it literally talked about Assyria in that context. But it said that Assyria dwelt carelessly, and they said in their heart that I am, and there is none else. Showing you that twofold level that, hey man, Esau is the Assyrian, but on a spiritual, on a spiritual level.
Concept.
Right? Even a matter of fact, I believe Revelations 18. Alright, because we know that, okay, the book of Revelations prophesies straight up about Babylon the Great. We know it straight up tells you about America. Now we're gonna read this, Isaiah 18:7. It says, how much she had glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I said a queen, and I am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. So Esau, America has that same element. They have that same element that they live deliciously off of slavery, off of the rape, the robbery, and the murder, right? They live deliciously off of this land that's not even theirs, right? You see? And it says, Salakia. Yeah, but she said, I am a queen and shall be no widow. So Esau believes that they are the top people, man.
Yeah.
Alright, and they'll never, ever, ever come down from their rulership seat, right? They think that they are going to always be that top kingdom on earth, man. You see? See, every nation is going to have to come to them, and they're never going to be cut off, is what Esau in his mind thought. But the Lord just straight up says in verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, famine. She shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh who judgeth her. So the Most High God of Israel is going to end up sending his son to judge America. You see? So this place is going to get plagued in one day. How? ICBM, nuclear missiles, you see? But that right there was just going to show you that Assyria is, in this context, talking about America, right? Did you have a precept?
Come. Since we're talking about the stout heart of the king of Assyria, I wanted to bring this out in Jeremiah 50:17. It says, Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria had devoured his bones. At last is Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones. You see, so the proud heart of the king of Assyria, he's going to be destroyed, man. Because it tells you, I'm going to read it again, Israel's a scattered sheep, all right? So we are that sheep, man. We're scattered, man. It tells you the lions have driven him away. We see, and we know that we are the sheep, and the Lord, he scattered us. Because real quick, if I can get this in Proverbs, all right, give me a second if I can find it. Proverbs chapter, I believe it's 20:8. Salakia. Yeah. All right, it's 20:8. It tells you this in Proverbs chapter 20:8. A king that sitteth in the throne of judgment scattereth away all evil with his eyes. And we know that the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, that he's a king. All right, he's a judge. All right, he's the judge of the whole earth. All right, but seeing the children of Israel, as we go off in our hypocritical nation, it tells you a king that sitteth in the throne of judgment scattereth away all evil before his eyes. So we know that we are that scattered sheep, man, because we went off. That's why we're scattered abroad all over the four winds of the heaven. The earth, the four corners. Because the Lord scattered us for being an evil people. But then again in verse 17, Jeremiah 50, it says, Israel's a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. So the lions, we know that they're the Assyrian and the Babylonian. All right, they're the same thing, man. It says, first the king of Assyria hath devoured him. Right, and when lions they eat, right? They eat sheep. We that sheep. All right, we're scattered abroad. We're confused. All right, because the Lord allowed that to happen. He allowed these lions to come in and destroy the children of Israel. First it was the king of Assyria, right? And for the lions to eat, that's what makes them strong, And because it's the lion Assyria told you that in Isaiah, he was proud. All right, he called himself a valiant man. But we know in the spirit, this is talking about Esau, all right, the so-called white man. First, the king of Syria had devoured him, and last is Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones. So now, lastly, Babylon. All right, this king Nebuchadnezzar, he broken the sheep's bones. All right, we know that with the sheep again. So Assyria is also Babylon. You know, Assyria is Babylon. Why? Because we know that all the oppressors, they're really all one and the same. All right, because we know that these prophets were just prophesying against America.
Come on, I got a precept concerning that.
Salakia, I got a little bit more. Verse 18, that therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I have punished the king of Assyria. So you know that Babylon is going to be burnt, man, because it even tells you that, I believe, it's the next chapter, but yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, and then this prophet Nahum, because we're talking about how the prophets, they prophesied against these countries that they were sent to by the Lord. Like Nahum went to Nineveh, he went to Assyria, but okay, he literally went there and he prophesied to the Assyrians and things like that. But on a double-fold level, he didn't know that he was really prophesying against America also, right? In the spirit, he was actually he was really prophesying against America, because America is also spiritual Assyria. So he's prophesying something in the future, although these prophecies concern the past. You see, this is Nahum chapter 3 and 2, and I want to start at 13. Behold, I'm against thee, saith the Lord of hosts. I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and the sword shall devour thy young lions, and I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of the messenger shall no more be heard. Okay, chapter 3. Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Right? So guess what? This was confirming Nineveh, but we figuring out that this precept right here is also concerning America, the bloody city, right? It's all full of lies and robbery, because this place right here, America, is that bloody city, right? It is the place that is the most bloody city on earth, man. Rape, rob, and murder of our people, right? Killings, lynchings, right? Continual killing here, man. And it's lies and it's full of robbery. Meaning it was robbed. Everything here was robbed. The land, okay? The people, alright? Everything that you could think of, and everything is set up on lies, right? Who we are, okay? Who Esau is. He calls himself so-called white, right? But we know that he's not really white. He's a so-called red man. He's the Edomite, right? Everything about this place is like a big melting pot. It's a big, everything's like a diverse culture mixed together, and it gives you a false sense of reality. When this place right here is nothing but lies. The freedom they give you is a lie. It's a distorted version of freedom, because they'll tell you you're free, but you're not really, because if you gotta pay taxes, right? Well, you're not free. You know, that tells you that you are tribute. You are a tributarian, right? Meaning that if you're paying tribute to somebody, you are their servant, right? If they call this a democracy when this is not even a democracy, alright? This place is dictated by the elites, but they're gonna give you a false sense of democracy by telling you that, oh, it's by the people, for the people, when really, again, man, votes, when you vote for presidents and things like that, your vote never mattered. He was selected, right? And then they're gonna trick you to appease the people, not knowing that everything they push is just wickedness on earth, man. And it's just going along with their order that they put out. I mean, you can go on days for how these people lie about things, man. The Bible, they've lied about religion. They lied about who the true Israelites are, alright? They lied about history. They went into the books, and then they went and distorted everything, man. Alright? Switched everything around. Alright? Everything they teach you in school is not even accurate, man. The Dark Ages. They don't even really tell you that we was ruling in Europe for 1,000 years as so-called Negroes. Alright? But they'll tell you that we was just Africans. You see all this type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Verse 4, it says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot and the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations through her whoredom and families through her witchcraft. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirt upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Right? And this is concerning America, Babylon the Great, because this place is the place that sells nations through her whoredom and witchcraft. All right, whoredom. That right there, man. That's them going in within these other nations and doing trade and deal with them, and pretty much deceiving them. Right? They're just whores, you know. And the well-favored harlot, America is known for that what? That abomination of the earth. That harlot. Let's get that. All right, let's get that in the book of Revelations. All right, it's the book of Revelations because this is referring to Babylon the Great here in the Revelations. It says, and upon her forehead, this is Revelation 17:5, upon her forehead was written, Mystery Babylon the Great. All right? The mother of harlots and the abomination of the earth. You see? So this place, America, it is the abomination of the earth, and it's the mother of all harlots. You see? Because this place promotes all type of wickedness on earth, man. Homosexuality, transgenderism, you know? Do without will type spirit. Alright? Be you and all this type of stuff, man. You see? I mean, you can go on for days on how this place is wicked through her witchcraft, which is her Hollywood, her media, her music, her drugs, alright? They'll force this stuff into our hoods. And then they'll pretty much destroy our people. Put lead in our water, okay? Put all type of GMOs in our food. Put us on a low vibration because that stuff is gonna mess up our mind. Vaccines, all that stuff is really witchcraft, right? And then you're gonna go, like I said, watch the Hollywood movies, and then believe that they really care about you, right? Because they'll put movies out that show you that biracial marriages and all this type of stuff, and you know they'll go and they'll put movies showing you that Esau's always the hero, right? But then the nigga's always the first one being killed, and you feel yourself not to be important, and all this type of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. This is Esau strategically pushing his witchcraft on earth, pushing music that's going to destroy your mind, you know? Put demons on the music so that you want to go listen to it, and after you listen to some rap that talks about kill your brother, alright, steal your wife, you know, and then you want to go do it, right? Because Esau is that one who does all that stuff, man. That's why it says, behold the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcraft, right? Because America pushes that wine, right? Let me get that. This is Jeremiah chapter 51. All right, because she sells nations through her whoredom. What does that mean? All right, this is the book of Jeremiah chapter 51 and 7. Behold, Babylon, which is, we know that's really talking about America, have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that it made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. See, and the wine is referring to his philosophies, his doctrines, his ways of life, ideologies, everything that is presented to you for an American, a sense of freedom and everything, right? You are a law-abiding citizen, right? You are one of God's children if you want to marry. All this stuff they'll give to you, right? And all nations look on America and they get enticed, right? They's like, dang, man, these other nations, their citizens will look over here and be like, man, that's the American dream, you know? And they'll be like, I want to be a actress, you know? I want to be the president. I want to land opportunity. Not telling you that it really is lies. If you want to be a part of their Hollywood, first and foremost, you got to sell your soul, you know? You want to be a part of the sports athletes. You want to be anything in the society. Really, you got to sell your soul to the so-called white man, right? Commit all type of homosexual acts, do things that you wouldn't really want to do. So it's false, man. In school, you know, everyone wants to come here to get a education, you know. You see, but they're gonna teach you false education, make you speak perfect English, you know. When you were damn Chinese, but you're speaking perfect English, you see, and you want to just live and be that American, right? They want to. Children will grow up being disobedient to parents, right? Children will grow up and they'll try to grow up way too fast and things of this sort. You'll be a whore by the time you get here, man. All right, you go to these Americanized schools, man. You'll be a whore, you know. Everything about this place is these other nations. They look at it and they think on the outward appearance it's cool to do it, not knowing that this is a lawless land and the Lord's not down with this at all. You see, the Lord's not down with how America conducts itself. It's the abomination of the earth. No land should be able to be this wicked, all right, and be okay with it. Come out the closet when you want to come out, right? Be, like I said, man, if you was a man, now you want to be a woman. You want to try to shoot yourself up with all these type of injections, and they're going to put, what's that female hormone?
Estrogen.
Yeah, estrogen. Now you're going to grow boobs and all. Esau's witchcraft can do that, you see? Esau can turn you into a woman. That is straight witchcraft. Esau could turn a woman into a man, right? All these type of stuff, man, and that's the wickedness of the earth. That's the abomination, man, and all these nations have kind of drunk of that. All these nations want to be Christians. Christianity is that top religion on earth right now. Our Catholicism, religion, all right? Why Jesus, all right? Well, guess what? Everybody worships and wanders after America. Okay, this is the place that everybody wanders after, and this place has caused all other nations to just be, you know, completely out of whack. That's why everything is out of course. Everything is out of whack because America is allows you to do so, and they're the top ruling nation. So guess what? I get that everyone else wants to be like, well, they're the example, you know? They're the example for the whole world. Now let's just all wander after that. You see? Now knowing that this is the worst example ever could have been set. It's like that big sister, you know? You got all the children, okay, you got all the little sisters, and you got a big sister, and she's a straight whore. She goes out, you know, she sucks all type of rod, and then, you know, she's always bringing dudes back to the house, man, you see? She's always drinking, getting drunk. Oh, she's just a bad influence, you see?
She's loud.
Yeah, loud and stubborn. And then your little sisters will look at that and they'll be like, well, that's cool. I want to be like, and they look up to you because you're the older sister. And these are the nations. They look up to America because America's that top nation. And they all want to kind of align themselves with America. You see? That's exactly why, hey, in damn Jerusalem right now, Israel, they got Tel Aviv, which is like, you know, you could be a homosexual out there. It's the biggest gay parade in the world is in Tel Aviv. You see? All these nations are starting to actually, the communist government that China had, it's not as dictative as it should be. You see?
Strict.
Yeah, it's not as strict as, really Moab is, because Moab is a strict ass nation, but they've kind of let loose, and now you got people over there in China rising up against the government talking about we want a democracy too. And they'll say it in English, you know, we want a democracy. Like, what's going on, man? You a damn Chinese and you speaking straight English and you're yelling for democracy. Like, what? They were having, remember that time when they was having martial law in the streets? Yeah. That's these other nations drinking of the wine.
What you say democracy means?
Democracy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that literally just means, you know, the citizens get to make their own laws. So the citizens, guess what? They actually dictate the government and how it's ran. So it's like you have a voice. It's for the people, by the people is what America's pushed on earth. And all these other nations, they want that too. They want to have a voice, right? They want to speak up against their government. They just want to fulfill their wickedness. They want free speech, right? They want all that.
Did you say it was like a democracy demon something?
Oh yeah. I think democracy just goes back to the root word, like demon hierarchy or something like that sort. See, so it's a demon. It's just a demon hierarchy, man. This place right here is a damn demonic nation. All right, sell it nations through her witchcraft. All right, that's America right there. And like I said, Nahum was prophesying against this nation right here. All right, but we understand that through the double-fold level, he was prophesying against America. All right, that's all these Jeremiah. Jeremiah is prophesying against America, though he was a prophet in that era at I believe it was like 586, a little further up. Well, guess what? Now he's really prophesying against modern day America. Right? Isaiah was prophesying against modern day America. Matter of fact, Ezekiel, if we can get that one, Ezekiel prophesied against America. All right, we're gonna actually see. All right, we'll go to Isaiah chapter. All right. Isaiah chapter 28 and 1. It says, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord. Let me see. I think that's it right there. Yep, I think that's it. Thus saith the Lord, okay, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God, and I sit in the seat of God, am in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not God, though thou set thy heart as the heart of God. You see? So guess what? This prince of Tyrus is talking about Esau. This is talking about America. And they say that I am God, and they say in the midst, and they act like they are God, pretty much. And Esau's had that same element to himself. He wants to act like he is, and there's none else. That's the characteristic of this man. The book of Obadiah tells you that Esau exalts himself like the eagle, right? He sets his nest among the stars, and he says, who is going to bring me down? All right, because he believes that he is some type of top kingdom. Because the Lord gave Esau the rulership right now. Matter of fact, I get Job chapter 9 and 24. Because Esau believes in his heart that whatever he has right now, he did it by himself. We already went over this, you know. He doesn't believe in the Lord. He believes that what he got right now, he conquered the world, and he did it by his own strength. That's why this man is the proudest people on earth, because they rule the whole earth, they have all dominion, and they think they did it themselves, not knowing the Lord gave them that power to do so. So that's why the Lord says, hey, can the axe boast itself against the one that heweth?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Esau's an axe, and the Lord's just using Esau to cut these nations down. Right? As a matter of fact, real quick before we actually move on.
I can say something when you're done.
Yeah, okay, let me go and get this in Jeremiah. Alright, chapter 51. Alright, that kind of reminded me of this precept right here. Jeremiah chapter 50 and 23. It says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? So again, Babylon is being referred to as another tool, as a hammer this time. So the Lord uses Esau as a hammer too. Not only does he use him as an axe and a saw, he uses him as a hammer. You see? Because he's the hammer of the whole earth. Alright? Meaning that Esau is that tool that the Lord uses to pound the earth, man. You see? So whenever these other nations, the Lord needs to kind of the Lord wants everyone to be oppressed, he uses Babylon. Alright? He uses Esau. Because Esau's another tool to be used. That's why Esau has dominion. He's on top. He's like the America is like the bully on the block. No other nation can stand up to America, or was able to back then. When they had the atomic missile, the Hiroshima Nagasaki incident, nobody wanted to step up to the plate to declare war on America. Right after World War II, everything was settled. You see, because the Lord used Esau to do that, man. The Lord gave Esau that power. The Lord, it says, I created the smith, right? Which created the waster to destroy. So the Lord created the scientists to be able to put together the waster, which is the ICBM nuclear missile. That's Isaiah 54:16. So everything Esau has right now is because the Lord has given him that, man. And he says that Esau is used like a hammer to pound on these other nations, alright? To make these other nations angry, and especially us. You see, because Esau, man, like I said, And again, Esau doesn't realize that he's being used. He thinks that he himself did all this by himself. No, the Lord's using these people to do so. But they won't believe it. They'll be atheists, and they'll say in their heart, "Hey, we did all this. We the wisest people on earth. We the most what's a good word to use? Accoladed people to ever walk the face of the earth." They believe that they were Adam and Eve. They believe that they were the first people, right? They believe they were the people of the Bible. They believe that they was everybody, okay? Not knowing that they're just a bunch of liars, man. They're historians. Everything about them, everything was set up to push a false narrative, but they'll be so proud and all that, man. Not knowing that everything they have is lies and robbery, and it's established on blood. And the Lord gave them the authority to do so, you know? As a matter of fact, I get that in Job 9:24. Or
Yeah, I wanted to say something before we
okay,
move
go on.
So, like you were saying, you have the Americans today. They believe that everything they did was because of them, was by them, was only involved with them. But we know that the Most High, He ruleth in the kingdom of men, and that He establishes each kingdom, all right, in His earth. He'll set up an empire just for His own reason, you know. But if that empire is time to go down, it's time to go down. You see. But also, I want to go back to Isaiah chapter 10 and 12. It tells you, wherefore it shall come to pass that when the Lord hath performed His whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his high looks. And we know that Assyria isn't only referring to the ancient Assyria, but also today, modern day Assyria, which is America. We know that that America has a stout heart, you know, because when you read in the next verses, it tells you that, for He saith, by the strength of my hand have I done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and I have robbed their treasures, and I put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. So we know that Esau has the children of Israel in captivity right now. That's why the so-called black, Hispanics, Native Americans are still in America, you know. Whether you know it or not, you're still a captive, you see. So, like I was saying, his heart is stout, all right? Stout, it's proud, it's stiff, and it's nothing different, all right? Because we know that King Solomon in Ecclesiastes 1:9, he tells you that there's nothing new under the sun. We know that, man. So, there's nothing different with the king of Egypt. Was not his heart stout as well? Was not his heart hardened? All right, stout means hardened, means stiff. All right.
Nebuchadnezzar, he was known for being a very, very proud king. He thought he did everything himself. You see, Nebuchadnezzar, the Lord had to actually, at a point, the Lord had to make Nebuchadnezzar go crazy. He had to actually make Nebuchadnezzar become a base man. You see, he made Nebuchadnezzar lose his actual senses to understand, okay, like his sixth sense, his seventh sense, and the Lord took that away from him and made him become like a beast. He ate grass for 7 years because the Lord wanted Nebuchadnezzar to know that, look, I gave you that power. And Nebuchadnezzar, he just didn't believe. He didn't want to actually, you know, he didn't want to actually accept that the Lord gave it to him, but he wanted to act like he did it. Who got that same element to himself today? There's no new thing. So Esau's playing that role.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Esau don't want to acknowledge that the Lord gave him the earth, but he thinks it was his own duty. I mean his own doing. So the Lord's going to have to deal with him again. Right? Yes.
Yeah, and that's a humbling process, man. Because even King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, where did he go to for counsel? He went to his wise men, and he told to Daniel, all right, who was Belshazzar. He told him that you're the wisest. You know, the guys be with you. So he wasn't really looking to the Most High, you know, for counsel. He was looking to men, you know, because he wasn't on that spiritual level. We know that the heathen aren't on that spiritual level. But back to the point that I was making, all right, before, prior to this, basically we know that the Most High gives these Edomites the kingdom. We know that the Most High set them up to be where they are right now, as goes for all the other nations that have been before Babylon the Great, all right, mystery Babylon. We know that the Persians and the Medes, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Romans, the Egyptians, the Grecians, we know that all of them were all set up for what reason? To be thrown down, all right? But we know that in the end, it was for our perfection. It was for us to be punished. Because even going back to what we were saying, a father will punish his children, all right? That's the work the Lord puts upon his children, but by the way of the other nations, you see. But I'm going to read this in Exodus 10:1. It tells you, and the Lord said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the heart of his servants, that I may show these my signs before him. So what's the reason? What reason do these Edomites have to be proud? Because they're a great nation. So is Egypt. But the Lord made Pharaoh's heart hardened because he was so great. So that's the reason the Lord is, what you can say, blessing. It seems like these other nations are blessed. So that's the reason these other nations are being held up, all right, at the exalted the way they are today. just to be thrown down. All right, to be like a chastening tool for the children of Israel. And I want to read this Exodus 10:1 one more time. It says, "And the Lord said unto Moses, Go in unto Pharaoh." And if you know about Pharaoh, where did Pharaoh go for counsel? He too, just like the king of Babylon, went to his wise men for counsel. All right, he didn't want the Lord. Matter of fact, Pharaoh, his heart was hardened because his wise men, right? His wise men were able to do their magic tricks, right? And just like the Lord was able to do spiritual manifestation, all right? Because when Moses cast down the rod, it turned into a snake. That's something spiritual, man. That's something not not of this world. All right, that's something more spiritual aspect. But the Egyptians did it too. The Egyptians, to an extent, did those things on the left hand side, though. Spiritual aspect. You see, so Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and a lot of these other kings that were emperors or kings, all right, of their kingdom, their heart was hardened too. And we know that America's no different. Americans, they grow up being wizards, witches, warlocks, necromancers. All right, they grow up being these so-called these spiritual, on a spiritual level, doing something left-handed. All right, basically, we know that the Most High set these people up so high, man, so exalted, so that their mind will be somewhere else. All right, it's just too high. It's too high for to be humbled at this point. The Edomites, they've built helicopters, tanks. They went so far in their technology, so far in their military technology, so advanced in their technology. I mean, advancing every year. All right. Back in the 1900s, we know that their technology advanced every year, every 10 years, and every 1 year, then every half a year. Then now we're up to every day they're advancing in technology. All right, they don't even show you what they have nowadays. But the point of the matter is that these devils, they advance so much. All right, they even want to now microchip everybody. They want to advance in vaccinating everybody. You know, making everybody come more rather than being natural, going the way of a course of nature. They want to go in more in the course of their robotics, in the course of their advanced technology. You know, make you like a AI, like a what are they called? Cyborg. But basically, yeah, they believe they're God, but the Lord, He set them up to be this advanced and this exalted just to be cast down. You see.
I want to get this. Ezekiel 29:3. Speak and say, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I am against thee, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon that lieth in the midst of the rivers, which saith in his heart, My river is mine own, I have made it for myself. See? So that's how Pharaoh, and we know that this Pharaoh on a double-fold level is talking about the America, right? Mm-hmm. The kings of America, because they are that great dragon. The Lord talks about the dragon. The dragon's a big serpent. Esau is that serpent, right? And it says that my river is mine own, I've made it for myself, because that's what they think. They think that this whole kingdom is themselves. They made it themselves. But the Lord said, verse 4, But I will put hooks into thy jaws, and I will cause the fish of the rivers to stick unto thy scales. I will bring thee up out of the midst of the river, and all the fishes of the river shall stick into thy scales. So the Lord said, I'm going to put hooks into your jaws. I mean, the Lord was going to actually dictate what he did. The Lord's dictating what Esau's doing. Alright? Whatever moves Esau makes, guess what? The Lord is making them do that. There's no free will. Alright? A fish who's on a hook, that fish is not going to move wherever that fish wants to go. It's going to go where the man who has him on the hook wants them to go. That's how Esau and these other nations, and we all are like hooks. I mean, we all have hooks, man. The Lord's using each and every one of us to fulfill our role. You see, Esau has a role in this thing. His role was to be the wicked and to be the proud, you know? Because before America even came into play, the scriptures talked about a very proud man. See? The scriptures already talked about Babylon the Great. Before America came into play, man. So who has to fulfill that scripture, that prophecy of Babylon the Great being a proud nation? The Lord had to use Esau. He had to he had to bring up Esau, man, during the Renaissance. You see? I want to get this in the book of Job, chapter 9, okay, verses 24. Alright? Let's go ahead and let me go down to it. Job 9:24 is reads to say, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. Is not where and who is he?" So the earth is given. The Lord gave the earth into the hands of the wicked. The wicked is Esau. Alright, and he covers the face of the judges, meaning he took our paintings and he made them to be like himself. He did iconoclasm. And this is talking about Esau. So the earth was given to Esau. Why? So that Esau can do what he needs to do on earth, man. Fulfill his role as being the hammer of the whole earth. Alright, Daniel 4:17. "This is decree by the matter of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth over it the basest of men." So this is the decree that the Lord reigns in the kingdom of men. I mean, the Most High sets over, and he says that he set over the earth, whoever he wants to set over the earth, man. He said he even sets over the basest of men. So that's what the Most High has done. He set Esau, who is the basest of all men, alright, the caveman, the man who lacks in all ways. He lacks melanin, alright, he lacks salt, he lacks anything that you could think about, man. That's why these people burn up in the sun, alright. They get skin cancer, alright. They have a hard time reproducing, alright. These people are small, alright. These people, like I said, in all levels, they are inferior. So the Lord has set the inferior man to be the top man. That's how the Lord wanted the end of the days to be. He wanted to actually make it to the point to where it was like, man, how is this man Esau? How the hell is he ruling over everybody else? Alright? So the Lord wanted that whole scenario where the basest man on earth became the top man on earth. And then the top people on earth became the basest people on earth. Because we, the children of Israel, we're the top people, but guess what? We are the lowest nation on earth, man. We don't have a damn thing in society. See? That's why in Isaiah 14, when the Lord says that he's going to bring down Esau, he's going to bring down Lucifer, which is the Illuminati, the elites, the other nations are going to look upon Esau and they're going to consider, and they're going to say, is this the one who made the nations to fall? This is Isaiah 14. So they're going to consider that, yeah, Esau, this is the man who actually made these kingdoms shake. He made these kingdoms troubled. They're gonna figure out like, damn, it was the basest, the most deficient man on earth. This caveman did this, and they're gonna figure out the truth about Esau. Alright, that the Lord only used him to fulfill prophecy, and the Lord's gonna cast him away like a dirty rag when he's done with him, man. Alright, so we're gonna go with this in Isaiah chapter 28. Ezekiel 28 concerning Esau, which Ezekiel was prophesying about America. Alright, thus saith the prince of Tyrus, thus saith in his heart, because thine heart is lifted up, right? And thou hast said, I am God, and I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the sea, yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. You see, that's talking about the Lord. Alright, talking about Esau, man. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold, silver, into treasures. By thy great wisdom and by traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore thus saith the Lord, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God, behold, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and defile the brightness, and defile thy brightness. See? They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the death of them that are slain in the midst of the sea. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God? But thou shalt be a man and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. So, the Lord, man, he's going to actually set these people up to get prideful. Right? He said that they're wiser than Daniel, meaning that there was nothing these people was able to hide from them. These people are the scientists, right? They knew how to make what's like a phone, man. You see, a TV, alright. They knew how to make cars. They knew how to put together a so-called spaceship, atomic missile, right? And they got all these damn theories and theorems and all these type of different type of things that they put together, the internet and all this stuff, right? They've done a lot of these things that you would think to yourself like, damn, these people are wise, like these people are the scientists. They look at Neil deGrasse Tyson. Not him. He's a so-called black man. But they look at like Bill Gates, and they'll look at these Einstein and people like that, right? And they'll think that these people are like wise, man. The Lord says that he was wiser than Daniel, right? So guess what? He was lifted up because of all the riches that he's got with his wisdom, right? But the Most High is gonna bring Esau down to the ground, right? And they're gonna figure out that they really wasn't anybody, right? Matter of fact, we're gonna actually go ahead and get 29 verse Ezekiel 27, and I want to get 29. It says, 24. These were thy merchants of all things, in clothes, broidered work, and chest and riches apparel, bound with cords, and made of cedar in thy merchandise. Verse 29. And all that handle the oar, the marines, the pilots, the sea, shall come down from their ships. They shall stand upon the land, and shall cause their voice to be heard against thee, and shall cry bitterly, and shall cast up dust upon their heads, and shall wallow themselves in ashes. And they shall make themselves utterly bald for you, and gird themselves with sackcloth, and they shall weep with bitter weepness, and the heart of bitter wailing. And in their wailing they shall take up the lamentation, and lament over thee, saying, what city is like Tyrus, like the destroyed in the midst of the sea? Right? So this king of Tyrus is talking about Babylon the Great, right? Because this is the same instance that we have here when you read the book of Revelations, chapter 18, that these other nations, they're going to look on Babylon when it's burning, and they're going to consider, and they're going to be like, damn, what nation was like unto Babylon, America? But here it's saying what nation was like unto Tyrus. So Ezekiel himself was a prophet back then, and he was prophesying about America, right? Not knowing it, though. But he was on a twofold level. The Lord was making him do it through the Spirit, I believe there was, let me see. I believe Ezekiel chapter 26. All right. Yeah. All right. This is going to be Ezekiel chapter 27, and I want to start at 2. Now, thou son of man, take up a lamentation for Tyrus, and say unto Tyrus, O thou that art situated at the entry of the sea, which are a merchant of the people from many isles. Thus saith the Lord, O Tyrus, thou hast said, I am perfect, I am of perfect beauty. Thy borders are in the midst of the sea, and the builders have perfected thy beauty. Alright? So again, this is America. This is talking about America right here, man. But it's talking about Tyrus. Because we know that America has that same trait about them, that they lift themselves up because of their beauty, right? Matter of fact, let's go to Revelation 18, right? Because everything we read, we're going to figure this out, that it's actually talking about America. Revelation chapter 18, and actually going to start at 7. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, right? That's talking about Babylon. Therefore shall all her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh who judgeth her. Right? And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, from 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth the merchandise of her any more. Alright? It says, the silver merchants of the gold and silver, alright, and fine linen, purple and silk and scarlet, and that fine wood, and all manner of ivory, and all manner of vessels of most precious work, of wood, brass, iron, marble, and cinnamon odors, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and souls of men, and the fruit of soul lusted after they departed from thee, and all these things were dainty and goodly departed from thee, thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of the sea, which were rich by thee, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city, that was clothed in fine linen, purple, scarlet, decked with gold, and precious stone and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all company and ships and sailors, as many as trade by sea, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto that great city? See? And this is talking about America when it gets destroyed in World War III with ICBM nukes. All these nations are going to nuke this place, and they're going to see how the great city America is finally put down, man. You see? And that's the same element that we was reading in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 27, when it was talking about the king of Tyrus, though. Right? The king of Tyrus has the same exact description, but we know that the Lord, Ezekiel, was telling the Lord to prophesy against America through the Spirit. Right? Though he didn't really know at the point. Alright? Yeah. You got any of the precepts, though?
No, we can go back to Isaiah.
Okay.
Let's see here. It's Isaiah 10, and we can start at 16. It says, Therefore shall the Lord of hosts send among his fat ones leanness under his glory. He shall kindle a burning like a fire like the burning of a fire. And the light of Israel shall be a fire, and his Holy One for a flame. And it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day, and shall consume the glory of his forest, and his fruitful field, both soul and body. And they shall be as when a standard briar fainted. So, as you can see, that's a prophecy of America, right? The land that you live in today. This is a prophecy of when this place is completely obliterated by ICBM missiles, all right, nuclear missiles. This place is going to be laid flat, all right, desolate. All right, desolate means to be waste, all right, zero. You see? So basically, it tells you again in 17, the light of Israel shall be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame, and it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day. All right, that sounds like prophecy to me, you see, because even in Obadiah, it sounds similar to Obadiah. You know how Jacob will be for a fire, and Joseph for a flame. You know, I believe, paraphrasing. So Esau has a lot of hell coming his way, man. You know, and these prophets, though they might have prophesied, I won't say ignorantly, I don't know if that's the word to use, but they prophesied unknowingly, God, all right, against Babylon the Great. You see, America today, and they, you know, this place was going to be destroyed. The Lord already had it, all right, in his map, all right, in his plans, in his book. So we know that the Lord, he already had an anger against this place. All right, it tells you in Psalm chapter 12, I believe it's 7 and 11 and 7.
And you can tell, like, some of these prophets, when they prophesy against, okay, America, you'll figure out, like, a lot of times, you're reading it when they're talking about the ancient terms, like Assyria, or they might say Egypt, or they might say Babylon, but then you keep it in the context, and you're like, hold up, this never happened to ancient Assyria, though.
Yeah.
Or this never happened to ancient Babylon, though. You know? It's talking about, this is going to be talking about America, that's why. Right? Like, even Isaiah chapter 13, when it says, Isaiah 13 and 19, in Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans, excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And you read that, and you're like, hold on now. That's talking about Babylon. But Babylon was never destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed. Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed with fire and brimstone. But Babylon, the ancient Babylon, it's still there to this day. Right? So how can that be talking about ancient Babylon? Then you figure out, like, look, that's talking about America. That's talking about Babylon the Great. Because this place is prophesied to be overthrew like Sodom and Gomorrah with fire, man. ICBM nuclear missiles. You know?
Yeah.
That's exactly how that works, man.
Yeah, and I want to read this again in Isaiah 10 and 17 going on. or 18. It says, "And shall consume the glory of his forest and his fruitful field," because we know Babylon, they were a fruitful nation. You know, a nation, prosperous, glorious, above all nations. That one nation everybody wants to come to. Again, like even the original Babylon, the modern Salaki, the ancient Babylonian empire. You know, Nebuchadnezzar, he had a dream to where he was a big tree. You see, he was a big tree, and all nations looked to him. Well, basically, he was a big tree all the way up into heaven, and he was a really beautiful tree. All right, just signifying, representing his nation. All right, how it was so great. All right, above to the clouds, above to the heavens. You see, and that's the same thing that's going on in Babylon the Great today. All right, modern day Babylon. So, this nation that was fruitful, all right, it tells you both soul and body, and they shall be as when a standard briar fainteth. So, the Lord's going to consume this nation and the people in it, all right, both soul and body. And we know who can do that, man. Who's able to destroy both the soul and the body, you know? Because even when we go to Isaiah 10, you get, give me a quick second. Matthew chapter 10 and Matthew 10 and 28, it tells you, "Fear not them which kill the body." And we know that man can kill the flesh. But it tells you, "but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." So the Lord, he is the ultimate judger, man. All right, the judge. He's able to destroy both the soul and the body. Now Esau, on a physical level, he can kill your soul. I mean, he can kill your body. But we know that the Lord, he's gonna have a putrefying judgment. All right, for this place. All right, coming up soon. Let me go to Zechariah really quickly here. This is Zechariah chapter 14:12. It tells you, "And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." All right, so the Lord, he's going to destroy this nation. All right, destroy the inhabitants in it, and just, you know, just a day of woe, death, and destruction. But also, if I can go to Ezekiel, because I did bring out how Nebuchadnezzar, all right, the nation of Babylon, how they were a big tree, all right, in the 4th chapter. All right, the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had, he was a big tree where all animals of the field can dwell under for shadow, and where the fowls of the air can come down on the thick boughs of the tree to dwell. And those are representing the nations, all right, that are able to cleave into Babylon. But I'm going to go to this in Ezekiel chapter 31 and 2. It says, "Son of man, speak unto Pharaoh king of Egypt and his multitude, whom art thou like in thy greatness?" So this king of Egypt, Pharaoh, he's about to get a perception of what he is like unto. All right, and it tells you, "Behold, the Assyrian," and we was reading about the Assyrian, you know. "Behold, the Assyrian was a cedar in Lebanon." And you know the cedar in Lebanon is that they're big trees, all right? They're big trees, healthy. It says, "with fair branches, and with the shadowing shroud, and of an high stature, and the top was among the thick boughs." So, this Assyrian was a great tree, just like Babylon the Great, you see? I mean, well, Babylon, with King Nebuchadnezzar, he was a great tree, so was the Assyrian. And the Lord is telling the king of Egypt that he too, all right, he too is like the Assyrian, man. You see, so these 3 kingdoms, they were all great trees. The Egyptian, the Assyrian, and the Babylonian. But what another thing do they have in similarity? All right, they're all synonymous with being oppressors, man. All oppressing the children of Israel. Now you know that those things are all are here today, man, because there's no new thing under the sun. So this nation too is also a big tree. That's why all the other nations come here, man, or want to be like this nation at least. So you know that Miss America is a big tree that reaches under heaven. You know, with the shadow and shroud where all people want to come. All right, live here. But it's all deception, man. And then again, this big tree will fall. All right, and it will be consumed. It will be consumed.
Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that had been, it is that which shall be, and the thing which is done is that which shall be done. There is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything wherever it may be said, see, this is new? It has been of old already. Old time already, which was before us. There's no, yeah. So that's pretty much on that. So, you know, as brother brought out, and as we've been bringing out how these ancient nations, they all took common characteristics and traits, okay, of America. Okay, America takes a lot of traits from these other nations, ancient nations, right? Showing you that America is nothing new. It's just in modern day Babylon, it's in modern day Egypt, it's in modern day Rome, alright? Because that's how the Lord does. He regenerates things. Even nations get regenerated, just like your spirit gets regenerated, you see? But, yeah, man, I mean, you got any precepts? Alright, man, hopefully with that, you're edified. Next time, man, shalom.
Shalom.